My name is Erin. I'm the Senior Media Exec at SBC, and today I'm here with Todd Sims from SUZOHAPP. So, Todd, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Erin. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. So we wanted to chat just before G2E, but something that I wanted to look at kind of beforehand was the evolution of SUZOHAPP. You've been known as a trusted supplier of kind of spares and components to the amusement and gaming sectors, but in recent years you've kind of changed, kind of looking more a complete solutions provider now. So how have you evolved to stay relevant to the industry, but kind of place more of an emphasis on new solutions?
Yeah, so I think the biggest change, like you said, we were supplying the components to the gaming and amusement industries.
Yeah.
But, a few years ago, we started looking at sports betting, and we had customers asking us to develop something that had not previously existed in sports betting. And so we just took it to the next level. Since we were already supplying components and parts, it was somewhat of a natural fit for us just to go ahead and design the complete product. And here in the U.S., we started to migrate our sports betting strategy over to the U.S. We saw some pretty big gaps in what customers need or could use, and what was being supplied to the industry. So we really dove in and spent a lot of time focused on where the opportunity was, because we were a latecomer in the sports betting field in the U.S. I mean, there was already people out there supplying what I call podium style kiosks to the market. So we had to really think. I mean, the only way for us to be competitive is we had to look at where there was a gap or where there was a need in the industry, and so that's what we did. And by doing so, we've brought in new products well beyond just the podium style kiosks. Brought those new products into the sports betting, retail sports betting specifically, marketplace.
Okay, so obviously, that's quite a big change. During that process, what would you say have been the biggest challenges? And, how has SUZOHAPP adapted to kind of overcome these challenges?
One, it's the same challenge that everybody worldwide has been dealing with, for the last year and a half or so, and that's supply chain. So there's been just a slowdown, the chip shortages, shipping shortages. At this time last year, cargo ships were all piled up outside of California, on the California coast, particularly Long Beach. Now all those ships are all piled up out off Savannah, on the East Coast. So it's just shifted back and forth. And so everybody is managing or having to manage those challenges. We overcome them because supply chain is our business, and it has been since the inception. So we do a lot of planning, a lot of conversations with our customers to understand what their expectations are going forward. We get really detailed with our forecasting and keep that supply chain running and smooth, at least as smooth as possibly can be done. The other challenge, particularly in sports betting, is some of the things that we're bringing to the market are new and they haven't been done before. So there's still this perception, or it's a slow migration from just that in a retail sports betting environment, from just a podium kiosk, which serves an important role, but it's a very limited role because it's a very transactional type machine, and getting the market to understand the benefits of a time on device machine. So meaning sit down, enjoy a game, place bets throughout the game, take advantage of in-game betting, the importance of, and the ease too, of capturing new players, taking a sports fan and turning them into a sports bettor in a retail environment is far cheaper, far faster, and far more targeted than acquiring a new customer on the online market. And so much mind share has been placed into the sports betting platforms. How do we build our online presence, which is important, of course, because that's where the lion's share of the revenue is. It's a kill or be killed type of environment to capture new customers. And the retail environment is far friendlier, far easier, a lot less friction.
It's I kind of would say grew up with the retail side, but that's something that I've been used to, and I kind of still go back to it now. You know, when I want to go and place a bet on horse racing or something, I'd prefer to go to a shop just because it's nice. It's nice kind of actually physically seeing someone and getting a bet slip and stuff. So I understand why it's so much more engaging for people.
We're social creatures. You know, we want to be social. That's why we like to go out and be around other folks, not just stare at our phones all day.
Exactly. So something, obviously, G2E is coming up next week.
Yes.
One of the biggest events kind of in the world. So can you tell us a little bit about what you're going to be showcasing? You know, is it some of these new products? Is it kind of your classics? What can you tell us?
Yeah, so certainly we're showcasing some things that are part of our legacy, you know, for in terms of supplying parts and supplies to the gaming industry. We'll be showing that. But our booth looks like a sports bar, and we'll be showcasing many different pieces of hardware, different products that fit within that retail sports book environment. Certainly the podium style kiosks that we supply, and you know, different than our competition. You know, we've taken a lot of effort into allowing individual branding and configurations to go into those podium style kiosks. Okay. We also supply the OTC, or the over the counter point of sale system. So we distribute those as well, and they're all, again, they're highly configurable. But then we get into the really exciting things that focus on capturing, you know, what I call the new incremental players. So how do we bring in new sports fans and turn them into bettors in the retail environment? And bar top. So we're showing a bar top. Yeah. We have a unit. We have a tabletop unit. We have what's more like if you think of an electronic table game stadium, where there's so we have a unit that would fit in an ETG stadium seating, where somebody could sit down again and enjoy the game or enjoy whatever event it is that they're watching. We have handheld events. So if you can think of, you know, in many casinos, there's somebody with taking Keno bets, you know, walking around. Well, in a sports event, you know, whether it's in a sports bar or stadium or what have you, and within a casino, somebody walking around able to place bets, or able to take bets. I'm sorry. So it'd be a casino host walking around with the handheld unit, able to place bets for customers. All of these devices are prime for targeting new incremental play. So let's imagine, Aaron, you and I are watching a game, and pretend you've never bet on sports. You're asking, hey, how do I bet on that? Or what is, you know, if that team is minus 21.5, what does that mean? You know, and you have questions. So I could show on a larger screen, on a social screen, I can show you what it means. If we're in a sports bar environment, it's very social. Everybody's excited. There's a lot of energy in the room. You're probably more apt to, you know, take out a $20 bill and put it in the machine and bet on the game, right? And so once that happens, now we just turned you, who is a casual sports fan, into a sports bettor. Yeah. And now we should track, you know, get you to sign up now for the online account or for an account, and track that conversion rate, track where you were, what, you know, how that happened. And so we have a lot of information about you that we can use for future, you know, capture of new customers. And by the way, that didn't cost any money. Or maybe I sent out a $20 in free play, right? Or a free bet. And that's a lot less than what it cost online to capture a new player, which, you know, reports we're hearing of $500 per new player or more. Yeah. It's not sustainable, you know, and it's really targeted to that person who's already a sports bettor, and maybe they're betting on this platform, and now you're just stealing them and bringing them over to your platform. But in a retail setting, it's, you know, free French fries, you know, free meal, $20 in free play. I mean, it's a whole lot less expensive.
That sounds amazing.
And it's where people are the most excited at the moment that they're most likely to place a bet, is during the event. Then let's not forget the fact that, let's say a game is a blowout at halftime, a lot of people will just get up and leave. But if you're able to bet on the game and bet on those in-game plays, again, a podium kiosk is not the right device for in-game betting because people just queue up, right?
Yeah.
But a tabletop or a handheld, if a person's walking around, taking bets, out in the crowd, for example, you can get those in-game bets. People will stay in their seats. They'll stay in your in your facility and spend more money on food and beverage, and that is so critical because we all know the margins are really thin. So anytime you can get somebody to spend more money on F&B, you just won. Yeah.
Let's say I know kind of as I know present over questions, but if you don't mind me asking, do you reckon that more betting operators should be placing more of a focus on retail engagement? Because, like from the stories that we've written, people are doing things like push notifications or, blast emails and stuff to try and engage players, but there's very few people that are doing stuff within the retail space. So do you think that's kind of been put on a back burner, but should be more of a focus, or do you think?
I do. I think there's been so much focus on the online piece because it currently represents, a lion's share of the revenue. But so rightly so, I suppose that the focus has been on online.
Yeah.
But retail is again, that's where do you, the old saying, where do you fish? Well, you fish where they're biting.
Yeah.
And that's in a retail setting, that's where they're biting. They're there to watch a game, and it's the excitement, and it's a social thing, and you get caught up in the emotion of it. And that's when you're most likely to place a bet. And so having the right device, is really important. And you got to remember, retail is the only way that you can be both spontaneous and anonymous. Yeah. And there's a lot of money out there that wants to remain anonymous. People who just want to bet with cash. I mean, people are guessing it could be 25% of today's market. I mean, who knows? It's an unknown, but we do know it's big, and it's and with the retail, that's how you capture both the cash player, the spontaneous player, but also the anonymous, where people they don't want to sign up for an account.
Maybe the odd flosser or something. Something that you touched upon in an earlier question was the fact that you've kind of got a big focus in the US. So what opportunities does this market present for you kind of now that more states are opening up?
I think there's some interesting and fun new states and new ways to implement. Ohio, I think everybody's really excited about Ohio. We certainly are. And it's different types of retail environments. The more of the bars and restaurants are things that we would refer to, I think, as route business. So there'll be expansions like that and coming to a lot of markets. Some of the markets, newer markets, are talking about being retail only for at least in the beginning, which is
that's interesting.
Good news for us because that's the space that we play in. So the U.S. market, the Canadian market, we're just we had the first installs up in Ontario too. Ontario, Canada is an exciting market. Yeah. But then can't ignore South America. Everybody's got their eyes on Brazil. Right?
Yes. Yeah, it's a big focus at the moment, at least from our side. And one final question, obviously we've discussed kind of the evolution of the company over the last few years, but kind of looking towards the future, what can we expect from you? I know you touched upon a few states opening up, but from a company side, what's coming in the next few months?
Yeah, we'll continue to focus on adding products to our sports betting inventory, as appropriate. So we're always looking for new ways or new things that would fit within our with our portfolio. And we've got a number of new things already in the pipeline. So we'll be showing 3 new products at G2E. It would be demonstrating at our booth, and then shortly after G2E, we'll be launching even more products. So that'll be a constant evolution, and we expect and we're striving to continue to be a market leader in new sports betting hardware.